Hello again everybody, back for another video with Miles, third one we've done today in this new batch.
Yep.
So hopefully you've already seen two things from us. This one is another writer-focused discussion and we're going to be talking about Russell T Davies, RTD. So it should be interesting. We're going to go through his body of work for Doctor Who over the years. And well, as well as that, a couple of things from beforehand and since as well, you know, up to the present day with years and years, just touching on that as well, stuff like that.
So I imagine it'll be quite long, a bit longer than our Chibnall one, which
just a bit, yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably rattle through
quite a lot of stuff. So I've got a list of his stories to talk about and things. I suppose, like the Chibnall one, I'll just start by asking you, and you're a good person to ask. Russell T Davies and Doctor Who, what springs to mind?
Well, Russell is my favourite writer for the show. Probably my favourite producer as well. I love his era. It's my favourite of the show. Yeah, I suppose when I think of Russell's era, I think of character drama, real emotional weight. He brought something to Doctor Who that we'd never seen before in the classic series.
Definitely.
A new element, and I love Russell T Davies. I think he's a cracking writer. And if I grab this little,
oh gosh, yes, that big tome.
Ew, this is my favourite book ever. The Writer's Tale. I've read it twice at least. It's just incredible. Incredible to get inside the head of, you know, such a talented writer. And just hear how his ideas come to him.
So definitely, the Writer's Tale definitely springs to mind for me as well. I discovered that a few years back. It's one of the things that's kind of made me want to be a writer, actually, just reading that. And
gets you inspired, makes you want to be creative.
Definitely. It's very candid, very honest. I mean, at times kind of uncomfortable to read, I suppose, the things that he says. But, you know, it's incredibly interesting to see how he goes through. So if you know, it chronicles basically from when he was working on Voyage of the Damned right up until the end of time. Just
well, if you've got the
back and forth, if you've got the updated one, if not, then it's a slightly shorter version. And yeah, so in terms of themes and ideas, then definitely, as you say, it's that very grounded drama he brought to Doctor Who. I mean, compared to the classic era, he brought to it definitely that emotional
kitchen sink drama.
Well, exactly, that kind of really stage, isn't it?
The element of really exploring the companions a bit more in depth, which was people say we were starting to get with Ace. Obviously, that would have remained to have been seen if the show had carried on. But I think that Russell really brought the companions to the forefront in terms of not just being there to ask questions, but being there for the story to sort of revolve around and really
giving them lives as well.
Yes,
mothers,
exactly.
Fathers,
that's one of the best
friends,
things.
Whatever.
I mean, just thinking about we'll go into it, I'm sure, but like Jackie Tyler, Sylvia Noble, Wilfred Mott, these characters who aren't even full-time companions, Mickey Smith, who aren't even full-time companions, but you remember them instantly.
There's lots of kind of Earth-based stuff as well, I think, that goes hand in hand with that, isn't there?
I mean, Series 1, there is not a single story set
on an alien planet.
It's all set around or on Earth.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think that literally, you know,
and kind of thematically then it's, I suppose it's to do with
the human drama.
Definitely.
That's something that Russell really brought to the show, and the classic series could feel very alien at times, which isn't bad. Alien stuff is great, but Russell brought the human factor to the show.
Because you've got, End of the World first, futuristic story is all about the death of Earth, and so that kind of brings it home in that way. And then another aspect of it as well, I suppose, just thinking about his Series 1 stories, you've got the long game as well, and the finale, which obviously tie into each other. You have that idea of an overarching thread, well, multiple threads running through the series, but the story arc kind of thing, which he really brought to the show. That hadn't been there before as such.
I mean, you like you say, you really do get an indication that literally this has been planned from the start, and it's all woven together so well. You've got two-parters in there that you don't even think about, like the long game and Bad Wolf Part of the Ways is technically a three-parter in some ways.
Yeah.
Similar with Dalek and the Long Game, which is basically a two-parter about Adam joining the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Aliens of London, World War III, and Boomtown. That's a trilogy about the Slovene, and it's amazing how all that just is woven together. I just love it.
Yeah, it's interesting how you say that, how you could group together any random 2 or 3 series 1 episodes.
And they really do.
Links between them, aren't there? What always strikes me watching Parting of the Ways is how that episode brings together so much. So you get the Bad Wolf thread brought to a head, you get references back to Rose's dad and Father's Day, don't you? And things, and the whole Mickey thing, and Jackie as well, those characters. I'm trying to think of anything else in particular.
Right, so the long game stuff gets paid off in terms of what that the weird effect that the Doctor has in terms of he actually has a negative effect in saving the day in the long game. He creates the world
rather
that we
like
find.
Face of Evil sort of thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Same idea. And from the previous episode, of course, that the whole Boomtown opening the TARDIS thing.
Yeah,
you kind of get the feeling it was sort of shoehorned in there, but it still works because kind of.
I like to think that it's not a Deus Ex Machina if it's used again for the plot. You know,
if it's a recent.
So I mean that's my reasoning. But yeah, series 1. So what have we got? Rose.
Yes.
The best possible opener. The revival of the show could not have gone any better, in my opinion. That is the perfect way to bring the show back. I mean, thinking about the TV movie, how that it was on the planet Scarab, and my old like whoa, sorry, I'm a new viewer and I have no idea what you're talking about, Doctor. Yeah. Rose, he strips it right back. Let's take the companion and have her as the centerpiece.
Yes.
And we don't even meet the Doctor until like 5 minutes in or something.
Because it's just Rose, isn't it, for the very first kind of
like Trafalgar Square, London. Really, one of the proper first indications of this is where it's set, even though it's mostly filmed in Cardiff, obviously.
Yeah.
But like the classic series, aside from like Invasion of the Dinosaurs, it was very much it was very much like countryside, home counties.
Yes.
Whereas this is kind of like we're in.
And it's council estates.
Yeah, this is where people are
living. Lower class sort of, kind of ground it in that kitchen sink realist sort of
again, starting to be touched on with Ace, but properly coming into the forefront for this.
Yeah.
And the enemies are perfect, and the Autons. Simple idea. These are aliens who can animate plastic. That's all you need. And it's a bit of fan service for people who are wanting the show to stay true to its roots. Russell manages to please everyone in this 45 minutes of just solid television. I love it totally. And the character of the Doctor gets introduced in such a mysterious way, in that you still have all these questions at the end of who is this guy, what is he doing, and slowly over the course of the series. Yeah, the development that
that's
the
as well, because the
Doctor
becomes a character. He gets character development, which hadn't really happened before.
And it's interesting how every episode of Series 1 ends with someone else saving the day. So Rose and Jabe in The End of the World, she sacrifices herself, Gwyneth and then Harriet Jones and Mickey, firing the missile. Dalek, it's Rose and the Dalek who sort of make the end calls, and then obviously Father's Day, it's Pete, and Boomtown, it's technically a bit of a cheat, sort of the TARDIS kind of thing, and then obviously Bad Wolf and Parting the Ways, that's Rose again. So it's sort of showing how the Doctor is affecting these people in such a way to make them better people, and in doing so becomes a better person in himself. He starts the series very much, I'm not going to get attached to anyone, I'm going to be very cold, stern. In the Doctor's Dances, as we were talking about in another video of mine,
absolutely.
It's the Doctor has become, he's been healed by these people, and all the people that he's met on his travels. It's incredible. So
because he also established the 1, 2, 3. Episodes 1, 2, 3. Yeah,
that sort of present day
story.
Yeah,
futuristic and past, which is a great format. In fact, the whole of that, the format of the series, and with the 2 parts as well, and just the way it's all structured, which is replicated and still
really well.
sort of to this day. I mean, not quite with Series 11, but that sort of 12, 13 episode structure with the beginning and end of the two parts in the middle, and it is very cleverly done, and it's allowed the show to go to new places subsequently, hasn't it?
Yes,
series. So I suppose leaving Series 1 behind and just moving on to Christmas Invasion and Series 2.
Yeah, Series 2 special in a lot of ways. Obviously I didn't properly get into the show until tail end of Series 3 and into Series 4, but Series 2 was one that I obviously went back to watch quite a lot of, and David Tennant is my favourite Doctor, and I connect with his stories the most. So Series 2, is very special, and again, perhaps probably Davies' weakest series in terms of as a whole, so, but again, you've still got that constant thread through of Rose. It's sort of a bit like the thing they tried to do with Clara, in the sense that Clara becomes more reckless as she travels with the Doctor more and more. But Rose, she's becoming more and more attached to the Doctor, and more cocky in some ways, and that doesn't end up being her downfall, but it does really weave into her
contributes,
thread.
doesn't it, to that, and it's very easy to kind of spot that. So I've recently rewatched a lot of series from the Steelbook, and if you look at the episodes, kind of from episode 7 onwards, Idiot's Lantern onwards, they're all about that relationship between the Doctor and Rose. One of them is in jeopardy, one of them has to save the other, so you get Rose losing her face, or the Doctor disappearing or whatever, and
falling down the hole in Idiot's Lantern. In Impossible Planet,
and that relationship is put to the test.
I think Love and Monsters is okay. It might not be. It's the first Doctor Light episode, but and it might not work for some people. But I do still think, although it might not work as part of the whole series, as its own episode.
As its own thing, it's definitely interesting, isn't it?
But you're meaning like as a.
I was meaning kind of for the Rose thread, but definitely no. Absolutely.
But it adds a bit more mystery to the Doctor,
because he introduced that Doctor Light. Kind of format essentially.
The only other one we had before that was Mission to the Unknown in the 60s. But which wasn't really, I guess, intentionally. I mean, I guess some of the Hartnell stories were Doctor Light in the sense that you went on holiday for a week or two, and but he introduced that kind of idea, and what stories that's given way to. Blink, Turn Left,
Midnight.
Midnight in the companion light episode,
and where the kind of the circumstances of the production of things have kind of brought the best out in him, and have created these scenarios where he's produced his absolute masterpiece. I mean, Midnight is fantastic. Jumping ahead, obviously, but I rewatched that recently, and Series 4 rewatch, and it really is staggering.
It's amazing television, and you read about it in the writer's tale, in how that was Midnight was a last minute kind of .com thing. It was going to be a Tom McRae story. It's one that was basically like a ghost hunting TV show where Donna would be watching it from home and seeing events unfold, and it just wasn't working. So a few weeks before, Russell was like, right, I'm going to write a script, and amazing. It's just 45 minutes of intense character stuff. It just showcases how strong Russell is at writing characters and people, and what they will do. Again, jumping forward even further to years and years, in how well he writes humans in what they do, because like in that show you see just how far humanity can go sometimes, and Midnight is the same in that respect, and that this is the worst side of humanity, definitely. In people going
and it feels like a natural progression the way it works. You like these characters at the start, and then they go on to do horrific things,
and that's what makes it all the more like horrible. And when you're like you invest in these characters within the first 10 minutes, because you learn about them and you learn their quirks and things, and then you see them turn into savages, and it's just like, it's amazing.
I think that Midnight's probably one of my top RTD stories.
It's still probably in my top 10. It probably is my favourite of Russell's scripts.
I think so.
I mean, I have my other like guilty pleasures like Love and Monsters and things like that, but Midnight is just strong television. When you read the writer's tale, he's always very conscious of like will this be possible to do on our budget? And sometimes he is like, oh, sod it, I'll just write a massive explosion here and do. But he does sort of feel very conscious of like, right, how am I going to do this? And it often really does pull off.
And I mean, the things they did pull off, I mean, that production team back then, you know, working with those budget constraints all the time, and random things happening, and people coming and going, whatever, and
the team behind, like, Julie Gardner, I forget the name.
Julie Gardner.
Julie Gardner.
And Phil Conson.
And
the execs.
The strength of them, you know, to pull together money that often they didn't have for the show.
From nowhere.
From nowhere, yeah. And I think they often go as unsung heroes in the sense that they're always in the background, but they've done so much to make that show what it is. But yeah, no, Series 2, a lot of strong memories attached to that. I have memories of watching Army of Ghosts and Doomsday on BBC 3 late at night on a school night when I shouldn't have been up. I snuck downstairs to watch it on TV.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, another special era. But Series 3.
Series 3.
Now this one, Series 2 I think is acknowledged as being a little bit weaker than the rest. Series 3 is often really overlooked in the grand scheme of things, don't you agree? People often tend to go for Series 4, Series 1 and...
Yeah, I suppose with Series 3 and 4 it's often the kind of the back end runs a really strong run of stories, isn't it? Often. Well, for both those cases.
Yeah.
But yeah, it probably is overlooked. I mean, in terms of the stuff that Russell contributed, I mean, it gets less and less kind of. I've got a list of them here, and it gets less and less as the years go on.
Because he wrote
Series 1, he started off thinking,
all of it, practically.
Maybe not.
Yeah, and also it's amazing how much he rewrote as well.
Yes, and we don't know.
I know.
There are some that are revealed in there, but you don't know at the time, do you? That it's got this person's name on it, and he was there. Saving that script.
Yeah. There's a lovely bit where it shows James Moran. Is it James Moran?
Yeah, there's like compare and contrast.
It's the original script, and then Russell's rewrites.
Yeah.
The difference is just not saying that James's script was bad, but it's like that's just the Doctor's voice. That's Donna's voice. He just has them down to a T. It's amazing, yeah. But so there's, in some ways, he's written the whole series. Other than like he's acknowledged that there's certain writers he won't rewrite. Like Stephen Moffat and Chris Chibnall and Matthew Graham.
Yeah, that wasn't there, wasn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, so Series 3, you've got like Runaway Bride opening the series.
Smith and Jones.
Smith and Jones was one that I love.
It's one that you've always liked.
I always turn to whenever I can't think of what episode to watch. I just put on Smith and Jones.
I recently rewatched that because of the whole Jadoon thing, and I mean, it's a nice little. I mean. The plot's very simple, but it's kind of fun. It's easy to watch and nice to watch.
It's almost like the 10th Doctor's Rose in some ways. Do you know what I mean? Because it's new companion.
Yeah,
the Doctor's very much
distant.
Really, the Doctor's quite distant in terms of. I think that was why Series 2 didn't quite open with as much of a bang because it was
I agree, actually. Yeah.
New Earth felt very much like it should be somewhere else.
You had the present day story for Christmas, and then kind of all messes up, doesn't it? But yeah, Smith and Jones is a rose of the 10th Doctor era. Yeah.
More so than Partners in Crime, because we really see things from Martha's viewpoint, a brand new character. The Jadoon are a nice, simple space police.
Yeah. An iconic look and just the idea, the whole Jadoon thing.
It's amazing. So many iconic creations.
Yeah. So many animal ones, actually. Cats,
pig slaves,
pigs. Insects like the Tritivores, loads.
I mean, so many iconic. I mean, I guess you attribute the Weeping Angels to Moffat, but like the Jadoon, the Ooze. These are monsters that really do stick with you, and
they've appeared since in subsequent eras and things like that. I mean, the Jadoon returning for Series 12. That's to his credit, isn't it? For creating them and the impact that they've had since. There's Gridlock as well, and then the
Gridlock,
finale.
Very underrated, and then the brilliant. I'm amazed at how little of Series 3 he wrote, because he basically just wrote Smith and Jones, Gridlock, and then the final 3-parter. But Utopia, again, one that as I grow older, I watch Utopia and I just go, that is just great TV.
It's tremendously exciting.
Relentless. It's constant and it's really character led, and you feel tense throughout the whole thing. There's always a cause for tension in it, and obviously the reveal at the end, which is just amazing. So, and then I even think that I obviously watched. I think it might have been in the run up to the Steelbook of Series 4 that I watched Series 3 just to. But yeah, even Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords, I think, is a really strong.
They are, yeah. I think that every time I rewatch them, actually,
because it's like years and years in the way that it's this society starting to crumble apart. Yeah. The Prime Minister being dodgy and all that sort of stuff.
Because I recently did a video about Prime Ministers and Doctor Who, and it's surprising to think about the number of politicians, like people say Doctor Who's PC and political now, but the number of Prime Ministers and MPs under RTD's reign, it's a common
and strong versions, like Harriet Jones. I think I'm going to remember Harriet Jones far more than I am whatever the hell that guy in Arachnis in the UK was called. What was it? John?
Oh, Jack Roberts.
That's Harriet Jones really does stick with you. Him, not so much. We've even got Vivian Rook popping up in Sound of Drums, haven't we?
Namesake.
So I really think it's a very strong and like you say, the back end of Series 3 is incredible. You know, you've got Human Nature, Family of Blood, brilliant 2-parter, Blink, outstanding TV, and then that amazing 3-part finale. It's great. I absolutely adore that. So another. I think Series 3 is a lot stronger than a lot of people give it credit for, because I guess it's quite in terms of the start of the series, it's a bit sort of easygoing, and you know, as much as I love Shakespeare Code and Gridlock and Daleks in Manhattan and things, they're not huge like, you know, the start of Series 1 or something like that.
I think the Martha relationship thing, I mean, just to touch on this as well, the whole thing of her fancying the Doctor and whatever, some people don't get on with that too well, and I know RTD has said in the past, you know, that I think the writer tell in other places perhaps, that his characters, well, he believes that characters don't necessarily have to be likeable or do likeable things or whatever, something like that. But it's always about they don't have to relate to them on a personal level necessarily, or agree with what they're doing, but it's what's interesting to see. And that was an interesting thing to do, I suppose, following Rose.
Yeah,
to have that. It makes logical sense.
And also thinking about the original character who was going to have in Series 4, Penny, who was going to be another love interest. Which is very interesting in that, you know, having
I don't remember that. Is
that in the writer's tale, he was like, I think I want someone else that the Doctor's going to just go head over heels for.
Ooh,
and thinking about that, I'm like, ooh, Russell might have been on shaky ground there. I think what he did with Donna was just gold dust.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Lightning.
Easily the strongest Doctor companion relationship of his for me.
Yes.
And the strongest series as well, kind of.
Such a unique Doctor and companion relationship in a slightly older woman who is going to have no hanky-panky in the TARDIS. None of that. It's just two mates.
And someone from a comedy background as well, and it was quite unique at the time. It's
amazing reading
to watch it,
when you read the writer's tale and thinking about how they were sort of like, can we get Catherine Tate for the whole series?
Yeah. And
now we just take that for granted.
And we just look back on it now and we think that was the golden years.
Yeah, that is, when people think of the golden years of especially Russell T Davies, that's what you think of, I think.
Absolutely.
So, you got Voyage of the Damned, which is its own separate thing in some ways. You know, it's kind of a kind of break before the Series 4 kicks in. But I mean, that was my first story I watched live, so it's very special to me. Just a really solid story for Christmas, and one that's got such an emotional weight to
that
it.
bill, because that's another thing he was burdened with, the Christmas specials from the first time Doctor Who, and
and that was the kind of era when Christmas with Doctor Who was just great. Not saying, I'm obviously not trying to shit on everything that's happened since, but like, you really have. I have great memories of watching that kind of thing, and the anticipation for Voyage of the Damned. You know, getting Doctor Adventures and all that sort of thing, and the Heavenly Hosts are a great creation.
Yes.
Astrid Peth, Kylie frickin' Minogue in Doctor Who. Just a great TV, Voyage of the Damned, and then you've got a series that follows with Donna coming back and Partners in Crime, which rewatching is just really
I think
intricately.
it's my favourite opener from him. Yeah. I mean, people say Adipose and things are a bit silly, and I don't know. Just,
to hell with the people who think it's silly. I think that's
and the whole miming thing with the Doctor and John as well. It's just so clever, isn't it? And
that's iconic. That scene.
Iconic. Yeah. Memes, gifs. Yeah.
Russell was really good at building up that tension for the finale, especially in that sort of final. Yeah. In the final few weeks. Do you remember watching those episodes?
There's a trailer from
the mid-series.
The mid-series trailer for that Silence in the Library onwards, and that is iconic to me. It
really is. It's that music of dun 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 dun, and that sort of turn left cliffhanger. I distinctly remember seeing that episode, and the cliffhanger of Bad Wolf. It's the end of the universe. Boom! Ew. That as a kid, just huge. Amazing stuff. So Russell's strength in sort of ramping up the tension as the series was going on, to the point by the series finale we get the Stolen Earth Journey's End, which I know a lot of people don't like because they think it's just all these characters and things, but I think for people who've grown up with these characters and followed their journeys, it's something so special.
I think to his credit, actually, he does handle. I mean, it could have been handled a lot worse.
He juggles them very well.
You get some slightly odd things like Jackie just in the background or whatever, but to be fair, he doesn't really mess that up. It does come to a nice head there, and it does celebrate what his era has been about, isn't it, that story?
And again, reading about the writer's tale of like the fiasco they went through to try and get the dates that all these actors could come together.
Gosh.
And I think it was.
Will Billy Piper be available?
Yeah, I think it was one of their because Billy Piper ended up getting engaged and ruined the whole film schedule. But I think that was one of the most expensive episodes. Aside from the specials, I think Journey's End, Stolen Earth was the most expensive one they did. Yeah. And it paid off in my books. I think really love that. And then we get the specials.
Specials, which were all basically all written by him, weren't they?
Yeah.
Co-writers, but
they got co-writers for the first two. Planet of the Dead might be, not that strong in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, I don't really mind it too much, but it's not
I don't mind it
that much. Harmless.
But then Waters of Mars.
Waters of Mars is one that I really like.
Is this one of your favourites?
It's one of my favourites. Yeah, just the whole atmosphere of it, and the Flood are a fantastic creation.
So scary.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear about in the writer tell about that as well, and how scary can we make them.
Yeah,
there's something about the eyes or something that they had to change.
I think there's a bit in that book when Russell goes, I went down to the set, I saw it, and it was the first time that he'd ever gone, that's too scary.
They're properly terrifying. I mean, I don't think there's been anything before or since.
No, aside from that little moment with Miss Evangelista in Series 4, there wasn't anything that really scared me as much as the Flood did. Even the Weeping Angels, didn't scare. The Flood are just a really horrible looking thing.
They're horrific.
It's the sort of, because it's so human, and then you've got that mouth and the
and also just taking that everyday thing.
Yeah, and how terrifying that is, thinking about literally you cannot touch any
drink
water.
or anything.
Yeah. It all started from a carrot being eaten in the greenhouse. I guess it's touched upon in Fires of Pompeii, and there are fixed points in time, but the Waters of Mars is the first time that properly gets put to the test. I remember that the original ending for Waters of Mars, I don't think Adelaide killed herself.
Oh, that rings a bell. Maybe she just go off or whatever.
It just literally ends with the Doctor going, I'm the winner. She wanders off, and then Nude Sigma appears. And that really, the balls on them for doing that, for sort of going, I think that was another worry for them as well as the really scary flood monsters. They're like, can we actually have a suicide in Doctor Who? But it just pays off, and it's amazing TV.
Yeah, and it's truly iconic actually, that ending, with the whole thing with Nude Sigma appearing, is it time or whatever he says, and then the trailer that plays after that at the end of time, and you've got all these mad things like the Master, but he's a skeleton, and the Ood with two brains.
That trailer at the end.
Oh yeah.
Donna Noble coming back as well.
Yeah.
That amazing,
was really exciting.
Amazing end trailer. Yeah. You remember those special trailers really vividly, like the Next Doctor one with the Cybermen of the.
Yeah.
Let's mention the Next Doctor one actually.
Yeah, Next Doctor.
And this sort of the stomping and and then the Waters of Mars one, which is this sort of Adelaide raising the gun up, and it's the gadget.
Your name, rank, and intention. That's the one.
So I love them trailers, and then we get The End of Time, which is just one of my favourite regeneration stories. Again, I know it's not a lot of other people's. They think it's really drawn out and too self-indulgent, but I think that for that Doctor, it is perfect.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. I mean, as someone who's not quite as big a fan of Ashley's era as a whole, but still, that is a more than worthy finale, I think, to it, and it is earned and it is epic, and
yeah, it feels
deserved.
Yeah, the only kind of comparison I can think of is like in terms of today is it's like the Avengers Endgame of the Doctor Who universe, especially that ending in particular, which again people sort of say is really self-indulgent in the Doctor going back to see all these people.
Yeah,
but it feels deserved. It feels earned. So I really
that comes all full circle with the visit to Rose again as well, which is really nice, isn't it?
Interesting as well. Yeah. If we keep jumping back to the writer there, I guess this is our sort of great insight into Russell. Originally, that story was going to be a very small scale thing of the Doctor arriving on an abandoned ship, and there's a family.
Yes. Yeah.
And he has to decide: do I sacrifice myself to save myself, save these people who aren't going to be anything important? But obviously, we end up getting this thing, and that gets woven into it with that amazing scene involving Wilf and the 10th Doctor, which I wish I'd mentioned in my greatest moments thing. But that, it's not fair. Why should I sacrifice myself?
Oh gosh,
to save?
for Knox. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff, and directed really well by Eroslin. But anyway, just a great end to his era, I think.
Let's just briefly discuss the spin-offs as well, which he didn't write that many episodes of that are actually credited to him, did he? But
no,
he kind of started them off and then oversaw.
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of them,
the thing. Yeah, so he wrote Everything Changes for Torchwood, and obviously Children of Earth later on.
Oh yeah. And some of the series, I think, or the Merkle Day one.
Oh yes, of course, yeah. But that was sort of when he'd finished Doctor Who, so he could sort of concentrate on that, I guess.
Yeah, which was interesting.
And he stayed the showrunner of Sarah Jane, didn't he? Even after he
did the Death of the Doctor, didn't he? He
wrote that. Yeah,
for Matt Smith.
Because the only other story he wrote for Sarah Jane was Invasion of the Bane.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yes.
I think that was
Sounds
it.
About right.
So that world building of creating these characters outside of the main Doctor Who universe, but still just as impactful, and obviously brought in for Stolen Earth Journey's End, but again, it felt earned.
Yeah.
It felt
and that was handled so well, how elements were kind of shared between them.
And how exciting that was as well.
Whatever, yeah. Or props or monsters or costumes or just whatever. And it built up to that climax in Series 4, but it creates that massive world building feel.
And having characters from each show coming into each different programme, like Martha going into Torchwood, and having like the Brigadier and Sarah Jane. That was originally going to be Martha in that Bane story, but it was last minute had to be changed to Nick Courtney, which I guess everyone was so happy about. And even having the Doctor pop up in
Sarah Jane.
Sarah Jane. So we've got all that to thank. I mean, just touching upon like Sarah Jane's story, Death of the Doctor, which we're sort of talking a bit about as well on my channel.
Yes.
Again, just great writing after he'd left the show. It showed he still had it, even after he'd gone. And in his Torchwood stuff, Everything Changes. It's not the best Torchwood story. It sets up the show quite well, I think. Perhaps too much suggesting, this is proper adult stuff, having the F-bomb dropped and things like that.
Definitely.
It does feel a bit like, okay, we get the idea. Similar with Day One.
It definitely takes the time for that to work. But by the time of Series 3, which he wrote. Did he write?
He wrote 3 episodes of 5, I think.
Something like that. It rings a bell, but no, definitely. That is easily the best Torchwood one, isn't it? And it's one of the best things he's done for
one of his. I think
the show.
It may well be his best
contribution,
or just as like a
standalone
piece of work.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
It's one of my favourite things that Russell's ever done in terms of his other shows.
Yeah.
It's just great television, great character drama, just so well plotted. Amazing, yeah. No, I think it's fantastic. And I've not seen Miracle Day, but what would you say?
No, not seen it in a while. I mean,
obviously that was after it left the show.
It's an interesting one. There's some good ideas explored, similar to the vein of Children of Earth, really.
Well, thinking about that as well, I mean, just going on a slight tangent, but like, it's amazing how, obviously, because he sort of takes ownership of Torchwood a little bit as he leaves Doctor Who. But thinking about it, that is his show completely, because Captain Jack is a creation probably of his own making. I think Moffat might have had a bit of to do with him, but you know, Captain Jack and Torchwood is his own thing as well, and all that whole cast. It is all created by him, I think. You know, I mean, I guess you could attribute some of it to Chibnall as well, but like, it is very much a Russell creation, and how popular Torchwood has become on its own is probably a lot to do with his influence. No,
definitely. So, and to tie that into something more recent as well. I mean, if you look at Children of Earth in particular, also Miracle Day to a certain extent, but the threads there that continue in years and years, this most recent series, all the kind of political stuff, and the idea, I kind of realised this while watching it, it's that bit in Years and Years, towards the end of the penultimate one, about is it the erstwhile camps or whatever it is?
Yes.
And it's always about like doing awful things to humans. Like in Children of Earth, it's donating 10% of
that
the
freaks
Earth's
me
kids
out all
to
the
be used
time.
as like drugs or whatever.
Horrible.
In Miracle Day, I mean, spoiler for you, but there's an episode where because everyone's stopped dying, there's loads of people alive.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same sort of idea, actually. I think there's Years and Years, I think, where people are being burned alive, basically.
Oh, okay. Put into not put into camps.
Big
but like...
oven. Well, yeah, kind of camps, and then kind of being burnt is all suggested, and then the erstwhile thing as well.
Oh, of course, because the population would be becoming so
growing. Yeah.
I do need to watch Miracle. I know Miracle Day's not looked upon that favourably, but I do need to look at it.
And consequences, which and going back to Turn Left as well, where they're getting taken away to the camps. That idea that crops up throughout, I think, which is something that I've noticed. Definitely.
I mean, I really enjoyed Years and Years. I know a lot of people said it was very bleak, and I mean that's the point, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's not really I like that with it.
I just thought it was great, great storytelling. It really stuck with you. I mean, that first episode, the closing moments, they just burn into your mind, don't they? I mean, when I first watched that, I was just sort of sat, turn the TV off and sat back, and a good solid 10 minutes I was just sat there thinking, what are we going to do? The world building in that is incredible.
Yes.
In creating a world so faithful to our own, and then just, let's see how much crap I can throw at it and see what happens. And
it is that. It's like taking that, kind of play with the high concept ideas and things, but he keeps it very focused on humans and the impact on a family, isn't it, for that particular series. And the closing, 10 minutes or whatever of the final episode, that's kind of his outlook on life, isn't it? Probably best summarised than anything. His work, I guess, that I've seen.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the other Russell stuff I've seen, A Very English Scandal was okay. But I guess it's not really his original idea. He sort of adapted that
from real life.
But one I've watched recently is Bob and Rose, which was one of the very first. Not one of the very first, but one of his first proper series that was penned just by him, and that was some very good drama. Leslie Sharp and is it Leslie Sharp and I forget the name of Alan someone. But yeah, that really showcased how human his writing was and how emotive he could be with that sort of stuff. I've not watched. I don't know. I'm probably missing some that I have seen of his. Oh yeah, Second Coming.
Second Coming. I was going to say, yeah.
Which similar vein to Years and Years, in a world just descending into anarchy, and it terrifies you. It really does. I really recommend that. Have you not seen it?
I've not seen it, no.
It's on YouTube, I think, so check it out.
Yeah.
It's just two episodes, both an hour long.
Oh, that's short, is it?
Basically, almost like a TV movie in 2 parts. And Eccleston's performance is astounding, and Russell's writing is, well, obviously that's what impressed Eccleston so much, to say, right, well, if you're asking me to be the Doctor, then
Doctor Who.
Second Coming is another really strong thing, akin to Years and Years. And I can't wait to see what else Russell's going to do. I can't remember
he's planning future things.
There is something else
not
he can
on,
do.
But because there was a podcast actually, I remember that I listened to.
The red one.
Had you listened to that?
I'm sure he mentioned something in that.
Yeah, he did. And just actually to go back to that as well, just to bring us to a close, I suppose that was really interesting. Similar vein to the Writer's Tale, just his approach to writing and things. There's so much good advice there, isn't there?
There's a really good quote of, well, I'm not sure what the quote is, but it's like his idea that a moment's inspiration is worth a lifetime's experience. So it's like, you don't have to have been involved in all this horrible stuff necessarily. You
can just be a kid who goes home, eats his baked beans, and that sort of stuff.
And you can still come up with all this amazing
pretty inspirational, stuff. And the way that lifetime's experience thing, the way that he has these stories in his head all the time, constantly working away at them and bits like that. It reminds me of the thing that you unearthed in the Writer's Tale from Years and Years about the crisp and the whole idea.
The Torchwood Children of Earth. What was it? There was something involved in it.
Something there
that he said I used for Children of Earth, and I wish I could have kept it back for my own series. And obviously, he subsequently goes on to use a lot of that, and that got turned into a Radio Times article as well. So 2 of my tweets. And that just goes to show that these ideas are always in your head. They're always lingering.
Definitely.
And that was just I mean, seriously, get this. If you haven't got it, and if you're interested in TV writing, in TV in general, in filmmaking, in being creative, this is just, it's an astounding piece of work. It looks like a slog, but when you get reading it...
goes through really quickly.
And you don't want to... I finished it and I was like, I wish there was more.
I wish there was more.
So that's a great insight into Russell T Davies, if you haven't already had a read of it. But great hero.
Absolute powerhouse, both inside Doctor Who and outside as well. So please do comment below your thoughts on RTD. We'd love to hear them. Your thoughts on his Doctor Who stories, his series, and his stuff outside of the show. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more stuff with us, and goodbye for now.
Bye bye.